All set, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome back. It's been a month, and we've got a huge agenda. Before I start, I want to put a shout out to our emergency personnel and all of our staff. Terry, I know, hasn't gone to bed yet, as well as some of the board members that showed up on the streets last night to help out. We had quite an event due to the storm. Police, thank you. Fire department was there. Everybody was hands on deck. We had really limited damage compared to Montour and some of the other areas, but I want to just give a shout out to all our department heads, as well as our emergency personnel, because it was quite a long night, and really appreciate everything everyone does to get the electric back up. I know people get impatient when it's hot, but you know, we did the best we could. It was really a NYSEG issue, and NYSEG is still working right now to try to get some of the other municipalities around us back up and running. So thank you for that. At this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. So I'll need a motion to open the public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant, please.
I make a motion to open the public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant projects 1211 PW55-20 and 1211 PW95-21.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll leave the public hearing open. This public hearing is for the block grant that provided partial support for our water project. Mike, do you want to speak on that at this point?
I got some senses here. So as it was advertised, the hearing is being held for the purpose of collecting public comments on those Watkins Glen current community development block grant projects. We call it CDBG, it's hard to say, but it's a grant program. The program is better. Current water system has a project that you're doing right now, it's a water system project. It's partially funded by two of those grants. They total $2.5 million. The CDBG program is federal USDA money administered by the State Office of Community Development and provides resources to eligible local governments for housing, economic development, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities with the principal purpose of benefiting low to moderate income persons. The grant program requires a public hearing prior to the grant application, which we did, and a second one near the end of the project, which is where we are now. Comments related to the project and the effectiveness of the administration of the grant will be received.
So I'll leave it open if
There's a
it's,
sign-in sheet
yep.
back here.
Yes,
If there's any public comments, questions about that project. That's why Mike is here from Larson Design. So we'll leave it open throughout the meeting. Fred, so Peter motioned to open that public hearing and Bob seconded it.
Yep, already got it.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so we'll leave that open. Mike, you're up for water system improvement updates.
Okay, I got to talk about basic instead of standing.
You're good.
Okay, so let's do the public hearing. That was part of our grant requirements for the month. We can do that again for the project. We're getting close. So work at the water treatment plant, pre-treatment plant, it is ongoing. We're still working on the start of the pressure filters. We did a partial startup. It flagged a few problems that we had. We had to shut some things down, repair a couple mains. Some of the components are being replaced or added, and West Tech is tentatively scheduled to come back and start up end of this month. So that's probably the biggest piece of the process equipment that we're doing. We've done 3 or 4 filter cells. As you recall, we had a pretty big change order to fix the concrete on the 4 main filter cells in the main plant. We finished the 3rd one that's back on the line. We're now working on the last one. They have been taking close to 6 weeks to get done. So we got a little bit behind schedule. I got on schedule a little bit later. You will notice when you go by, we are working on site restoration. They've been up there raking, cleaning it, topsoil, seed. That's always a good sign when you start seeing on schedule. Right now, the contract date is July 29th. You're probably gonna ask me when we're gonna be done. Contractor will not meet this date. We've got a lot of the components done. And the date was really important for us because of the CDBG grants. They did have a deadline. Payout that I've got, next item here, that payment app will spend the last of the CDBG money. So effectively, we did meet their deadline on that money. That's really good for me because we already did have one extension of that. If we have to go through another extension, it's a very painful, long process to get that money extended. We spent it all now, so we do not have to worry about that. So that's a big box to keep in mind. As far as the other items, things are lagging. We've got a few components that haven't showed up. Still have very, very long lead times. I wish things were happening faster out there, but I've learned that, you know, you've heard the saying, good, fast, and cheap. You have to. We want to make sure it's done right. We're trying to avoid large cost overruns. If we start pushing on contract terms and people start talking to lawyers and everything else, then things get expensive. So I'd like to give them the extra time to get this done. I'm estimating 6 weeks. We're probably looking at end of August, early part of September before we button things up. But understand, it's not like one big race to finish and bam, it's done. It's going to start winding down. You're going to see less activity. Maybe no one's there. Someone comes back to change the windows when they come in, things like that. So it'll be a much slower kind of cool down process to get this thing done. But yes, it is unfortunately taking longer than we expected. Especially since we had the meeting last time, I've got several documents that we need to go through. I guess before that, before I get into the documents, you got questions on anything?
I guess the biggest question I have is what leverage we have to get them done sooner than,
So that was what I was hinting at. There are what they call liquidated damages in the contract. So any day past the date, you can start enforcing additional costs. What it does is makes things very contentious, and then they're going to start looking at things that we've done to help them up. And every little thing that we're asking them to do is now an extra where it wasn't, and it just starts getting kind of, we do have that ability. I generally don't recommend it. If we had a contract that just wasn't coming to work every day, that's what that clause is for. These guys are just slower. I'd like to think that within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have things in shape enough that it's a little easier on those staff, as far as, you know, how much interruptions and extra work they have. But yeah, the only real, it's kind of a nuclear option to start charging the contractor for how many days they're late.
right?
And it's not fun. We would be talking with your attorney before we pull that.
Yeah, we had to do it at Lafayette Park. Questions from the board? I know Margaret and Peter have been pretty engaged.
Lori, when did this project start?
When do we start?
Didn't they say April 1st, 2020?
2020?
Yeah, we're over
Spring.
a year for sure.
Yeah, spring of '23 it was.
Oh, thank you. When are we gonna start having our houses flushed in the spring and in the fall? Because where I live, there is metal that come out of there that I take, I've got physical issues and they're affecting me.
Yeah, Louise, so that's off time, that's a different department, that's not who this
I
is.
didn't know that.
Yep, so we'll address that separately, thank you.
Sorry. So any other questions before I get into the paperwork on what we're doing?
So is the change order number 2, that's the third bullet down, that's included in the payment application, number 15?
No,
That's additional?
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right,
So on the filter,
yeah.
we're behind 6 weeks, why?
Why? There's a number of reasons for it. There's a lot of subcontractors that need to be used in that, getting people out there in time. When we extended the contract out to the end of July, it was when we actually added those filter cells. We always knew we were going to do the underdrains and filter media, but once we exposed the first form of concrete, it was in really bad shape. So we said, all right, let's give them, I don't know what it was, it might have been 6 months or so, to add that concrete work to the contract. It was kind of a guess of how long it was going to take. We guessed kind of close, but not close enough. We probably should give them a little bit more time.
Yeah, I
And
understand
remember-
that,
I
but
remember in the meetings too, you talked about the communication piece with the suppliers, or for lack of a better word. That
Yeah,
he
certain
was,
suppliers
that
are-
one guy, I can't remember his name, but, you know, he was trying to email, he was trying to call people and things like that, and they wouldn't respond, and,
Certain suppliers are harder than others, we've had lots of problems with
Yeah.
the filter, the pre-filter manufacturer, that's been the worst one I'm talking about. There is a meeting tomorrow, so, where we will get down on some bolts on all this stuff, so, I know that, you guys have representation there, that anybody's looking to.
So are you at the point for a punch list at this point, or not quite?
Not quite, I mean, we usually start a punch list early, but we just kind of keep it running low, we don't actually issue it to the contract, make sure that we're all close to it, so we're not quite.
Okay. You guys good? Okay, next.
So, our documents, payment application number 15 across and for $440,850.50. That's a big payment application, they've got a lot of work done. A lot of it is restoration, the roadway coming up to the plant, that road got moved, new stuff based down there. In the pay app, if you look, you'll see this period column will show you all the work that's been done over the last month. So we recommend that payment that gets them a lot closer to done. Like I said, that covers the last of the CDBG funds. So, that's a big milestone for us. Next is change order number 9. This is an electrical change order that's largely additional work that wasn't in the original scope. Kind of, you learn as you go. This one adds a disconnect to the electrical disconnect to the pump house. Pump house service had never had a disconnect, which it should have on it. So, we are adding one at the electrical contractor, so that's the price to do that work. The second piece of this is village requested relighting of the existing plant building, changing out fixtures, relocating some, adding some to get the right lighting in the building. That wasn't originally scoped to do that, maybe it should have been, but going through Terry and I, going through the contingencies, what's left, we think we can afford it at a decent price for the work that we're doing. So, this is just more work to that plant that's been requested. That total was $71,746.42.
Did we talk to Tommy about IEP covering any of that?
yeah.
I think we'd have a problem with it being a project that's in the go right
Yeah,
now.
so what,
And one of the things that we had talked about was we were left all of this right to the end of the project.
Right.
So much contingency we had.
right,
Currently, the way the lighting is in the plant, we cannot service the lighting. The lighting is so high up, we cannot service it. So they're relocating it, dropping all the lighting, upgrading it all to LEDs, and to where it can be serviceable by a ladder or by, a small level. And again, it goes back to, we've been pretty, keeping an eye on our contingency, and we're at the point now where, we can use some of that contingency to hear
Yeah.
unknowns showing up on us.
Yeah, I know it seems like there's been a lot going on with this job, but this is a renovation project, not new work, so you usually go in with a pretty good contingency for the things that you know you're gonna find.
right.
We're close enough to the end now that we are starting to be able to make spend some of this extra money, on some things that, weren't initially in the job. But, Terry knows I'm pretty tight on my contingency money, so he's got pride in me doing this stuff, but, so far we've got a plan forward, we still have a little extra.
Okay, I understand the disconnect, but again, I don't think the question was, did we talk to Tommy if we can push this through the IEEP funding? We're changing fluorescent fixtures to LEDs.
Well,
That's
number
exactly what we're doing in the
Number
community.
one, we can't service those lights.
I understand that,
So,
but we're gonna swap the lights out.
I don't know how IEP would feel on a existing construction project going on. I mean, I could talk.
I think we gotta ask the question.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's sleeping right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't,
I texted him earlier, but.
I'm not saying
we'll
we'd ask
follow
him
up
now,
on
but.
that.
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
So that change order is on the table, obviously, so you decide what you want to do.
Yep.
I think for what they're doing, it's a decent price, they're already ramped and mobilized, so, you know, there's some advantages there. But
Okay.
that's your decision, it is added work and it isn't required by any of our, DOH.
Right.
And the third one is change order to Larson's contract. I am asking for an additional $45,000, just like I told you before. Our engineering fees, particularly on the construction side, are an estimated fee. And we do our best to estimate with this additional 6 weeks and more so some of the additional work that we had to do on the site, how often we've been on the site, has given some costs, projecting cost overrun. So we were looking for a bump to our contract of another $45,000. What I'm trying to do for some cost, and Terry probably doesn't really know this yet, what I'm trying to do for some cost management on our standpoint is I'm going to pull our full-time inspector off the job at the end of July. I have other places for him to go. I think the work's gonna slow down to have someone there full-time isn't really necessary. I'm gonna make up the difference, but you're gonna see more of Amanda, on the site. So you'll see her maybe, half the time, maybe about 2/3 of the week there, at the time, one staff instead of two. But even with doing that, I'm projecting shortfall here at the end of the job. And I will say that the $45,000 that we're asking for is also been in our contingency balance. So, I probably the next time we meet, we'll have a tabulated contingency, what we started, what we spent, and how much left. But we're still tracking about, I don't know, last count, I think we have about almost $80,000 contingency I'm looking for, and that includes projected costs that will still come down the pipe.
Okay.
The idea is to end on zero and then go past go, so far we're tracking to that. Questions on those three documents before I go into phase two?
I'm good.
All right, so the phase two water project.
Actually, hold on,
Okay.
I'm just trying to find a spot where I found some. So in your statement for the change order 002 for the 45 grand, part of your rebuttal to us is that you have substantial additional effort has also been required to maintain efficient management of the construction of the project due to unanticipated difficulties in coordination and communication. What has that led to? What are you referring to? Who?
Largely the contractor talking to the staff, where there just wasn't enough happening on site. We felt that we were kind of too large and we had to bring additional time spent on the site. We started adding more meetings. You know, my engineer who normally is on site as much as she had been. And it's not all just personnel. We had, you know, filters changed and things weren't working and we had to go through and watch the operations day in and day out. Just a lot of extra effort that really was just unanticipated.
What do you mean adding more meetings?
We were trying to do most of our work with our on-site inspector, phone calls, emails, talking to Terry, that sort of thing. We found that not everybody that way was talking well enough, so now we are on-site, we do these on-site meetings, Margaret's there, Peter's there. We do these every 2 weeks now. And there's prep up to those, and then we stay after, and they're almost all day.
So a construction meeting, like you would have at a large project like this, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we were finding is that there was disconnect on our end and their end, and that we needed to tighten it up. And then in conjunction with the subcontractor, there was a lot. I mean, I was engaged, and then I asked Peter and Margaret to meet with Larson, with Terry, so that we got back on track. And so there were some things that we needed to tighten up, definitely.
Yeah, I had people on the site full time for a couple of weeks, so I'm trying to get their input on that.
Yep. Okay, phase two.
Phase two. All right, so that project is largely designed, except we have not submitted to DOH for review yet, because we are adding scope items, kind of as we go. What we're doing in phase one, some of the backwashing we're doing is flagging additional issues with the existing system that we think need to be addressed. So I don't want to submit that document until we're sure we got all these things covered. Terry and I had a couple items here just recently, things that we gotta add that phase two. So that's happening. I want to get that out soon because the DOH takes time to review the project. In the meantime, and I know you know this, I did want to mention again that you guys were successful in receiving a $4.6 million EPA grant. There's a lot of people that get credit for that across the board. It was not easy. It's the first one I've ever worked on. It's also the largest single grant I've ever seen. $4.6 million in federal money is impressive. Just to put it in perspective, total project phase two is $11 million, so this is almost half of that project funding. We are going to go for some additional CDBG grants. They're now $1.5 million. We couldn't apply for those until we closed out the two that you had, which just happened, like I said, right now. So that 4.6, I'm hoping it's not all of the money we can get for you, but it's a good start. So yeah, is there any questions on phase two? I know that everybody's gonna be pretty project weary when phase one's closed out. You'll probably get a little bit of break before we start phase two, but I can tell you your staff is more than interested in starting to get some more progress. All right, phase two, gets easier from here. So, Blue Car for the roadway reconstruction, I would have had these documents into the last meeting, but we didn't have it. That work and the site restoration is complete. I have two documents in front of you for that project. One is just, I need a signature on each certificate of substantial completion that basically just tells the contractor that you feel that there's sufficient complete, so that your bond needs to be set and done with. There's no cost or anything associated with that. Second document is final payment application. This is a little bit of work we hadn't had done last time, plus the retainage that we held back. I generally feel like everybody's pretty happy with how that went out, how it went down out there. Looks good.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, and that was the first I ever worked with that contractor. Every time we do it again, he's a little new as a contractor, very, very conscientious. He did absolutely everything he wanted to do with equipment.
Yeah, huge improvement, especially around the park office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really, to get the dust down there and the guys, they've striped it now, it's a huge improvement. Terry's kicking himself at the community center.
So I've heard about it, but he happens to just have to drive by this little puddle every day.
Couldn't squeeze that in. Next time.
So those two documents, payment application number 2 is their last one for $34,905.60. That will close out their contract. And that's done. The last thing I have for you, Terry and I talked about this. Typically, Larson has a retainer agreement with you guys, which there's no fee directly associated with it. It's just terms and conditions and our billing rates, and we usually do it every 2 years. We've been so busy on the projects that our last one expired at the end of '23, and here we are in July, and we hadn't signed up yet.
Yep.
So I just did a straight 2-year, assuming it started in January. The retainer you have in front of you is 2024, 2025. It just gives us a task order. Terry asks us to do something, we can do that work under these certain terms. You'll get a task order and a cost every time there's a request, so there's no money associated with this whatsoever. It just kind of streamlines the ability to ask us to do some work for you. So I would need to sign, authorize copy of that back, and you can set that one.
Yep, you got it on the list.
Except Barry just said, you also got the ALC grant for the Blue Park pump station rebuild, which that's 1.2.
1.2.
So you guys had to take a couple of years, I can tell you, it took 2 years. No, 2 years.
That one's taking a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
so there's, for the board, because I haven't heard, I just really got the release before we came in, is that we were awarded what they call the ARC grant for $1.2 million for our pump station at Clute Park, which is just about dead. Had carried down that hole last couple of weeks, so it's really great news for us, so we can get moving on that. Very excited, so 5.8 million in a couple of weeks. I say a couple of weeks, Mike says a lot longer than that, because I don't have to do that work, but I really appreciate everyone's efforts on that. That pump station, well, you explain what it does. If that goes down, we're in trouble.
If that station goes down, that's the heart of Clue Park. Everything from Clue Park goes to that lift station. That lift station, I believe, 6, 7 years ago, I told you that we've got roughly 5 years left on the station.
Yeah, it's.
Right now, we're down to one pump, the entire electrics are shot. We're gonna have to maintain it, so we're gonna have to put a new panel on it, and a new pump in the station, to keep the station running. But again, if that station goes down, you lose Blue Park and you lose both sides, as well as the one that lift station. That's all that station does. The good thing about upgrading the station is we can look at future growth. If anybody wants to join into the community and come down, say from Burdette, we're gonna design it as such that it will be able to take flows from another community.
Yeah, it's great news for us. Really exciting. Any other questions for Mike from the board?
Yeah, Mike, how much is left in contingency?
That's a tricky question to answer because I can't tell you exactly what's left because I'm already projecting there's gonna be a few more change orders going along. So subtracting the change orders that I think are still coming, right now we're looking at, say 80,000 left in the project. That's not what we're doing. With amendments, that includes things that haven't happened yet.
But you'll have so a contingency is what you currently have, and you're talking a forecast contingency. So you'll have that in your meeting tomorrow?
We generally don't talk too much of the finances in the meeting, it's more than nothing, mostly let's get bill plans and that sort of thing, but I can certainly have that for you. I think that's where it was, it's very not including the newest
So let's
election.
say it worked out that we were at, without the change order here, we were at about 125,000, I believe. And then that's a change order on for that electrical switch and.
Right, it's a moving target, so the 125 was all, I had already anticipated 25 for the school.
That's all right, we don't have to go through it, I just didn't know if you knew it off the top of your head,
Yeah,
because if you have a change order into us right now for 70 grand, and there's roughly 80, that's 150 before you walked into this meeting, not 100 and a quarter, so. But just if you can bring it up to speed to the team tomorrow, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I can do that, and like I said, Terry and I don't consider scratch that, sit here with you. But, yeah, I'm not looking out here exactly, I'm looking ahead and projecting where we're going to be, so.
Was McCrossan at that meeting or not?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't normally talk finances when you're.
But, I can have Terry.
Yeah, but you guys can have a,
Sidebar,
that's right.
sidebar.
Sidebar.
Other questions for Mike? We got a lot to get through.
Yep.
Really appreciate
That's
you
all I have for the thing.
and your team. Thanks a lot for everything.
We're getting there, I know it's frustrating, and big projects last a long time, but, we're getting there.
Hey, it's all improvements.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, we will.
What's that, bud?
That have been neglected for almost.
Yeah, for how many years? All right, public be heard. Louise? Yep, so state your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes for public be heard, please.
I'm Louise Wilkins. It's 105. North Monroe Street. Need my phone number?
No.
So I'm here today to discuss problems that are happening with my neighbors. I was told to come here by Chief Moser and another on June 22nd of this year, I had to call the police about my neighbors at two different houses. There's two different houses that I live across the street from, and they're both associated with the problems that are happening. So they had a pounding, thumping music, along with words coming out of their house that I could hear in the house where I live. The house is so close I can see it diagonally out the front window. One other time I had to call because you could hear music up and down the street and the words that were sung. This time they were not told to stop and they continued. I spoke to the officer on the phone to ask why they did not turn it down where I could not hear it, and he said it was not the right time of day for them to do so. I then explained why I asked for it to be turned down to a volume I cannot hear in my house. I have a problem with one of my ears that is caused by loud music, thumping, pounding noises, popping, sizzling sounds, sounds of piercing, beeping, and slamming things. The problem it causes is that my ear gets stuffed up and feels like pressure pushing on the inside of it that is being held there and making it ache. I get a bubble in my ear and I hear something and I feel fluttering in it. And it's very painful. I was told to avoid these things so I do not have the possibility of hearing loss in the future. I cannot avoid it if it is happening on the street where I live. I cannot move because I have physical issues. I cannot work. I have lived on this street. I can't drive. I have lived on this street for 41 years and shouldn't be forced out by neighbors. I have nowhere else to live. I would clearly be homeless. I have nobody but my mother to live with. Okay? So I am also having a problem with the first house. So there's one here. So that was the first one. This is the second one. Between 6/22 and July 4th, a person who previously lived there moved back. The person came with their vehicle that they come and go with at all hours of the night, and every time this person comes back, they leave an ear-piercing car alarm that wakes me up. The person comes in anywhere between 10:30 and 12:30 at night and beeps it. Then he goes out again for only a half an hour at a time, comes back and beeps it again. And Chief Moser said to me, where could he possibly be going for just a half an hour at that hour? This person has also come in at 1:45 in the morning. One night the person was idling in their rumbling vehicle for a half hour for talking. So Moser said, if anything else happened, call the police. I did, and now I'm having retaliation from my neighbors. Fun. After I called, the officer had him go inside, and the person beeped their vehicle before doing so, then waited for the officer to leave and beeped it a second time. The person then went to their car and slammed it so hard I thought their vehicle would fall apart. The alarm was beeped a third time. For weeks, the vehicle door continued to be slammed. The people in the house know I have an ear issue because they inadvertently found out from someone I didn't know was directly related to them or knew them. Now I am being the people in the house now inadvertently know what they found out. Now I am being watched as to when my lights go off in my house, and the house with the guy with the beeper, they have set off firecrackers. This happened on July 4th. Pop, 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 and then somebody screamed right outside the house in the street. Then they did pop, 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 pop again. I called the police on them. Well, nobody was outside and they weren't going to go to a house. I understand that. So other things that have happened to me, another day, there was a day in between, they had a sparkler that was sizzling so loud after I turned my light off one night to go to sleep. And I actually saw somebody open and close the door on their porch to get in quickly. So I know it was coming from that house specifically. Then the next night after the sparkler, a car also came one night. Down the road, it sounded like it was drag racing and pulling metal down the street. It stopped in front of my residence, in front of my mother's car, and then when I looked out the window to see if there was a car, and there was, they sped off vroom down the street. I believe it was sent there to do that. I didn't call about the sparklers or the car because I was hoping that it would stop and die down, but it didn't. The second house started retaliating on me. or the tenant, excuse me. I had an officer come to my house. They didn't come to my house, they came to the one on the corner at 101 where my mother lives. Because there's a driveway where they could park where the people wouldn't see that the officer came. Because every time they come, they do something new to me, and I'm afraid. So he didn't take any heed out, he just listened, and then he went back and said that he came and saw me and stuff like that. And again, it was said to come here. So now what my neighbors in the second house are doing that night that he came about was that they have a large backyard. I'm assuming they're renting this place. They have a large backyard. They have a big vehicle that they park up on the top of it. And they were either inside there or in the house, but they had the music blasting and they were watching me from somewhere. Every time I walked to my residence, they would blast the music. Every time I went back to my mother's house, or somebody came by or a car, they would shut it off. And they did it back and forth all night long. After the officer left, I went back to where I lived. The person saw me put the lights on. The guy beeped his car again, even though he was already in the house. Then at 10 o'clock, which I know is the noise ordinance, those people put their music back on and left it on till 11:45. And no way was I calling the cops on them. It's pounding music that they're playing, and my ear can't take it. I'm afraid that one day I'm going to have hearing loss. Doctors can't fix it. They told me to stay away from it. I'm not even safe in my residence. All this is because I'm trying to preserve my hearing, and Chief Moser said I shouldn't have to live like this, but I can't do anything. I have to come to these meetings, and this is what I'd like done about it. I also have one other thing right after it. I'll probably come back at another meeting. I would love it, and I'm sure others in the village would love it too. It's between the hours of 10 o'clock at night, which is the noise ordinance to begin with, and 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because sometimes people don't get up early to go to work. I can't work, so I'm home and don't always feel good. That people couldn't have their alarm sounds on beeping the alarms in their cars, because that can be taken off. My mother took hers off. So that's one of the things I'm asking, that the alarm sound not be on in people's cars at those hours of the night. And the other thing is, as for the music, I would like it to be that it can't come blaring out of people's houses, that they can't sit in their vehicles and do this to me, that they can't bring something outside and have it blasting down the street. And if it's causing an effect to my hearing, I should be able to call the cops, and the cops should have them turn it down to a level that is no longer causing problems to me. But I'm told right now that can't be done. It can be turned off during the noise ordinance times, which is 10 o'clock for residents. But 14 hours out of the day, they can blast it as much as they want for as long as they want, as long as they're home. And multiple people live there and come in and out of those residences. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Louise. We'll take it into advice. We're not here to problem solve, but we will talk to the police. I think you're doing the right thing by calling when it's the appropriate time. I don't think during the day we can tell people that they can't play their music. We do have a noise ordinance, which you know, but we will follow up with our local PD. And
Can I ask a question?
sure.
What about the fact that they're playing it so loud that it's affecting my hearing? And now my mother and I know that they're specifically playing it because they know I have a problem. So how do I get around that? That's where I live. How do I get around that? That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because my neighbor does it too.
But there should be a law that says they can't blast it out of their house. My mother loves music. You never hear it outside of the house.
Mhm. Yeah, you can't really measure decibels, I mean, unless you get a decibel meter.
But when I'm having this stuff happen in my ear, where it actually is a pressure inside my ear that holds it there, and I'm getting aching, and I'm getting pulsating things going through my ear, and when I go to sleep at night from all the stuff that's gone on, all I hear is something in
So I think this is something the board will discuss and see if we can't come up with a resolution, a solution to help you. This is part of what we do. I'm not sure what we can do, but we'll delve into it further, for sure.
Can I give you a copy of what I read?
Yeah, you can
Sure.
give it to the clerk, please. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Michael?
First, thank you very much for taking care of Lakeview Cemetery and putting some bushes on 14 to make the view from my mother and father's grave and my mother-in-law and their sister, their grave better, the view.
It looks nice, doesn't
It
it?
starts, yes, it does. It starts to obstruct the view down towards all the machinery. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that 2 of the trees have already died, but I'm sure in your contract you'll find a way to get new trees there.
Yeah, they're keeping an eye on that. Do you know who he is? Just so, for the record.
Michael?
Hartney? What's your,
The ones in a line all did fine. The 2 in the back, gone. So, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
The second thing is, and about every 10 years I come back, and it's about time for me to ask again. I own property at 210 Reading Road. My name is Michael Hartney, and I have 1 tax parcel at 210 Reading Road. My tax parcel goes between Reading Road and North Glen Avenue. About 20 years ago, the post office renumbered my garage and the apartment above the garage to be 355 North Glen Avenue. Therefore, I have 2 addresses on my 1 tax parcel.
Don't you love it?
I have water and sewer delivered to me at my house at 210 Reading Road. The post office numbers has it as 210 Reading Road. And the house at 210 Reading Road has village electric service as well. Water and sewer are not delivered and have never been delivered to the second building on the tax parcel property. Water is received from the 210 Reading Road house through the house's water meter. Sewer is sent through a connection from our house under my driveway on the tax parcel from the garage into my house, and then, well, I think it's connected under the driveway. So there's no sewer connection to the second building on the tax parcel. The second building is a 2-car garage and with a small apartment, which is a short-term rental at this time. And it is legal, and it's all been inspected, and all those rules are being followed. The second building has village electric service. There are 2 meters, in fact. 1 meter is for the garage, and the garage is billed through 210 Reading Road, the house. The other meter, that's the apartment. Both buildings, again, are on 1 tax parcel. The second building is billed every month for sewer debt, rent, sewer rent, water debt, water rent, and tax, because it is a rental. And the rate on the village electric on that apartment is a commercial rate. It's not the same as the house rate, as you all know that. We pay the same items on our house bill, though not the tax. So we pay these same items twice each month, my wife and I, $53 for each building. And one of the buildings is not connected to the village water or the sewer system. It just doesn't seem fair that we should be billed twice for these items, as they are buildings on the same tax parcel.
Okay, so let me try to understand this. So you're saying 1 is not connected? I thought you said earlier it was connected.
210 Reading Road, the house, is connected to village water and village sewer. 355 North Glen Avenue on the same parcel is not connected to village sewer. It is connected to village electric.
And that's The short-term rental, 355.
Yes.
Okay.
Two of the meters on that building, one meter is for the garage, and that's billed through the house, and the other meter is for the apartment, electric meter.
Yeah.
And they're both through the village.
They're in the village.
I'm in the village.
Right.
so
Yeah.
I have
But I
those
mean-
electric. Yes, I'm a village resident.
So we'll have to talk to our water and wastewater, because this sounds really convoluted to me, but let us check on it. Have you ever had us check on it before? I know before you,
Long time ago. I mean, I
this is
didn't-
new to me, but,
Yeah, I have not.
I didn't do, I bought the house, and this is what I inherited. I did not make it this way. This is the way it was when I got it.
okay.
I realized from a previous appearance at a village board more than 10 years ago that it is not in compliance with a present house construction of a second building. I know that.
And that's a whole different issue.
But that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
The fact is, it is what it is, and it's working just fine, except I'm paying $53 every month twice, which amounts, but you can do the math.
Yeah. So, Michael, why don't you give Fred your phone number, or Terry,
Sure.
and we'll ask our superintendent and water manager to get in touch with you, and
Great.
we'll check it out for you.
Great. Do you need a copy of my village tax bill paid?
No,
Or any of the-
no.
Any of the water meter and electric
We,
bills?
we don't need another
You don't need
piece
those?
of paper. I mean, Terry might want it, but,
No.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Michael.
thank you. All right. No other public to be heard. Moving right along, I need a motion to approve the minutes of June 18th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on June 18th, 2024.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? Good job, Fred. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, it's carried, thank you. Okay, department reports, anything additional? Stacy, thank you for your efforts during the storm yesterday. Okay, for the board, we did receive $500 from the Elks through a grant for the summer rec program. We'll be, as soon as I get a date on that, Stacy, I'll let you know. So we gotta go up and accept the check. I'm just waiting for Tom Phillips on that, so,
I did go to the triangle fund meeting for that grant for next year,
okay.
for that one was for 7,500. But they said we'll receive that, they'll send that check out January next year.
Great. All right, no streets, everybody's tired. No code, no water, no electric. How about sewer superintendent? You're still upright.
I'm still upright. We'll leave that at that right now. I'm still upright.
Plant made it through,
Plant made it through Montour Falls, or the main lift station in Montour Falls, just got power back about, I think Calvin texted me about 4:30. They just restored power to the main lift station there, so.
yeah, it's really tough, Montour's.
Oh, it's a wreck.
I reached out to Mayor Ryan to see what we could do to help. One question I had, Terry, do we have a estimate on that 10-minute parking spot out here? I know that somebody
The
was,
last estimate I had, at first it was supposed to be 2 weeks. And then Sue contacted me again, and I think it's gonna be probably 8 weeks or more for the sign company to actually,
so did they do the sign or did
they
we?
do the sign.
Oh, okay.
So they do the sign and they put it up, but they are so backlogged that it kind of will be 8 weeks or so before we see it. I mean, they are in the process of doing it, so we will get that parking spot out there so they get it.
Okay, that'll help. And then just one thing for you too, could you follow up with Sue? I sent her an email about that.
All right,
I haven't heard from her, but, you know, if it's a, no, they can't do it, that's fine, I just need it in writing.
okay.
saw that email, right?
Yes, I did. I'll give Sylvia.
Thank you. All right, Sergeant Mosier, anything additional for you all? Thank you. Fire, no. Treasurer, no. Okay, I'll take a motion to accept all department reports.
I'll make a motion to accept all department reports.
Second.
Go ahead, Mark.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, that's carried, thank you. All right, we got a long list here to get through. A lot of them are tied to Michael's update on LDGs, so,
Before you begin, can
Yeah.
I just know, thank you, Margaret. For B, I hadn't gotten it turned in yet, so when you guys do B, the amount is $71,746.42.
unbelievable to me how much things cost.
Anyway, sorry.
Buy something. Scary.
Okay, so we'll start with A, and does everybody, have you added municipal solutions under R on the bottom? So we've got an additional
What is it?
municipal solutions. It's our
It's a contract for their financial services.
contract renewal. It's this right here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
I
start
thought
with
we already
A.
did
Start the McCrossin payment. Application number 15.
I'll make a motion to approve McCrossin's payment application number 15 for $440,850.54.
I'll second it.
Further discussion?
A lot of money.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, next one's McCrossin's change order number 9 for the water treatment lighting.
I will make a motion to approve McCrossin change order number 9 for water treatment plant lighting upgrades and electrical disconnect at pump house in the amount of $71,740.42.
I'll second it.
Just to clarify, I think it was 71,746.
Six.
Oh, 746, sorry,
42.
yeah, okay, let me say it over, or,
Just
It's noted
revise.
the correction.
okay, no,
We're good.
All right, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, carried. All right, LDG design change order of $45,000.
I make a motion to approve the LDG design change order number 2 for $45,000.
what was that one again, can I just ask, what was that for?
That was for the additional services that Larson has
Oh, right,
had
right,
put in
okay,
for the, during the water project. I'm
Need a
surprised.
motion, Bob, second?
Who seconded it?
Bob.
Is there any pushback on this?
What did you say, Steve?
Is there any pushback on this?
What do you mean, like?
Terry would,
This is a normal thing during construction. It doesn't matter, the engineer, and again, as Mike said, they've already budgeted or put in reserve extra amount because there is gonna be change orders coming through. They did do a lot of work on site that was not part of the scope of their project.
right.
And all of that has a cost to it. It doesn't matter what engineering firm you use. This is a normal, when you're getting through a project and they've done a lot of extra work, they come to you with a change order and they assign a cost to it.
And that's what contingency is for.
That's what, well, it's not, no, this
It-
actually is not coming out of contingency.
I understand that.
It's coming out of, I don't know how to explain this. The engineers have a contingency
Right.
in the engineering contract, so it's actually coming out of their contingency.
And how much is left in there?
I would have to ask Mike that tomorrow, how much. I think he did state it here, how much.
About 80,000.
80,000.
No,
That,
was
that's the contingency for the project.
For the project, oh, okay.
So this isn't really per se, they put the money aside for contingency. It's not costing the project any more per se, because it is part of the.
It's already
contingency.
budgeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if we don't use the budget? Where does that money go?
What
Can we
we are
push
gonna
that
do-
into phase two?
Yes, whatever's left that we don't use, we're transferring to phase two.
Right.
But they've done the work, and they have spent the time there. They have spent an inordinate time in
Unbelievable.
that plant. That was not part of the scope. And as Lori said, we've had to have a few meetings on that to,
Yeah, the same thing happened with LaBella when we did the Lafayette Park. It just happens because,
Right, they weren't even doing construction meetings. I went up there for a tour and asked a question.
they were doing they were doing them by Zoom.
What?
And I had requested when there were issues, and the issues were,
but they were also doing them, they were doing update meetings here. They were
Yes.
required to do them in person here at the board meetings versus,
But that's a lot different than a construction meeting. That's, you're going through your Gantt chart, you're going through your contingency, you're going through the delays, and you're updating the forecast.
yeah, I mean, but they were
It's-
doing it, they just weren't doing it in a more formal way, which you guys have been involved in now for the last,
Couple months.
yeah.
couple months now.
Twice a month.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but we had to engage that. This is our engineer, they should be doing
Yeah, it was pretty lackadaisical.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, I don't
beginning.
disagree with you.
that.
And that's the reason why we
We
stepped
started
in.
going.
All right, we have an open motion on the floor. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
it. No,
Steve opposed. Motion is carried. All right, next is Evergreen Excavating, payment application number 2. This is the final payment for the paving of Coop Park.
I'll make a motion to approve Evergreen Excavating Payment Application Number 2 for $34,905.64.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? I think we would use them again. They were the low bidder.
Yeah, they did good.
And they went way above,
Yeah.
Stacy will attest, they went so far above.
After we got through Cargill.
Yeah, but I mean, they went way above board on what they did. They did so much extra work for us, and never really, even the parking lot where the boats are, they made that so much.
Yes, that's really improved.
Yeah.
How they graded that all off?
Yep. I mean, they didn't have to, but yet, when they had the equipment on site, and they said, yeah, we'll do it. And
Yep. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, carried, thank you. Next is our 2-year normal retainer that we're late on for LDG.
I'll motion to approve Larson Group, or Design Group, 24-25 retainer agreement for engineering services.
Second.
Further
So,
discussion?
yeah, I wasn't quite sure what exactly, well, I know Mike was explaining it, but, so we're signing an agreement just saying we'll retain them if we need any kind of engineering
they are,
services.
yes.
It's a very broad agreement, and there's no cost to do it
Right.
unless we initiate it, which we may on a situation I got going right now, which I'll fill you in on later.
Has legal gone through this and approved it?
It's a standard one. We have I don't usually send this one to Dave because it's the same exact one that we do every 2 years.
Yeah, because it really
No
doesn't,
changes to it.
I mean, if you look at like 5.2, 5.4, 5.8, they're not held accountable for anything
What are you looking at, Stephen?
In the
in their
agreement.
agreement. Have we ever pushed back on this, Lori? Like, change some of the,
Not that I'm aware of.
And the agreement has worked for us for the last,
We've done this for I mean, Dave's looked at it 2 years ago, but it's exactly the same. I compared it from the last contract from 2020.
And it's the same agreement with the wastewater plant.
I understand that, but
So does this limit us to looking at somebody else?
Nope.
We can still do that.
And we do.
So why do we sign it, just out of curiosity?
Reason we've gone with Larson is Larson was the engineer of choice for the wastewater plant. They designed that plant, they know that plant, we use them. It did not make good business sense to be having different engineering firms butting heads, which is what happens. And being that it's water and wastewater, it made perfect business sense to have the same engineer do water and wastewater.
So if something happens, for example, at the wastewater plant, we would use this agreement to have Larson come in and assess something that might be going on. So that's a perfect example.
Because they've already done the work.
They've already,
They're the
yes.
ones that did that project.
Is this just limited to wastewater and water, or is
Just
it?
water and wastewater. Right now, this is
Because
the
that's
water, wastewater has the same agreement, because you can't, we have the same agreement with them. And being that they designed that plant the primary work all through construction, getting the plant online. So yes, if there is an issue, they're the ones doing our sewer use law, which was part of building the new plant, the industrial pretreatment, which is part of doing the new plant, and an order by the DEC. So again, when we looked at it, there was a lot of headbutting between engineering firms, offset engineering firms. It just made better business sense, one engineer for water and wastewater. And so far, they have actually done a very good job and a very conscientious job for this village.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, that's carried, thank you. All right, we have 2 hires for the summer rec assistant. And due to our meeting schedule, they've already started, so.
Yeah, so for Jacob and Sasha, just, well, why don't you motion and then I'll silly.
Yeah, we'll get a motion.
I'll make a motion to hire Jacob Yance and Sasha, is it Onrath?
Conrad?
Onrath? As summer recreation assistants, starting 6/19/2024 at $20 per hour.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion.
So what happened was Stacy accidentally left off one, but she had her big hire list of everybody. She missed those 2.
Oopsie.
So after the fact, when she sent it in, she said, oh, we pointed it out, it was no big deal. I said, it's okay, we'll get it on the next one. We know that we're good.
So you're in training, Stace.
Well, it was a lot of people that you were hiring all at once. I mean,
So are these rehires?
No, Jacob and Sasha, this is their first years.
These are new
Yeah.
ones.
They're for the for summer.
They filled the required limits we had to have for, to be able to make summer rec happen.
All in favor?
That's it.
Aye.
So,
Sorry,
is that their starting rate, $20?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a set, the summer rec has a set rate for the positions.
Each depends on the position, yep. All right, now I'll say all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, next we have our temporary part-time code officer, Dennis Tremblay.
Tremblay.
make a motion to hire Dennis Tremblay as a temporary part-time code enforcement officer effective 7/12/24 at $30 an hour.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? We have it posted. It's a tough one to fill. Dennis is here. We're trying to go through some things. It's a
If you
little
guys
daunting.
spread the word as much as possible.
It's
Yeah, I
a-
have been. So
The office is daunting.
Well, I'll tell you, they're not making it any easier for these guys.
Mm-mm.
The rules and regulations
God.
are just over
So-
abundant. It's crazy.
Every village is having a hard time finding.
Who would wanna do it? Really,
Well,
honestly. who would
Scott
wanna-
went to the town of Orange, which is a mess,
Oh,
so.
is that where Scott went?
That's where this guy was.
So, and how many hours a week is he gonna be working?
Well,
Well,
That's kind
not
of.
more than 20 pretty much,
Yeah.
but he's doing the best he can, but I mean, he's just offering to kind of fill in while but he's balancing Dixon Reading as well. So
Yep.
we're just hoping that we can find someone
It's
that's
just a-
qualified to come in and want to work full-time.
it's a temporary patch right now.
Right.
So where do we have it advertised? On a website? and
Our
then-
website, the county website, which is usually where we get most of our responses, and then Facebook.
Well, because they have to have that residency requirement, right? So that's where,
The residency requirement does suck, but it's 5 counties, I think, wide, that,
they have to live in.
but.
Right, no, I understand that.
Five-county radius.
Is there any
Spenska.
other avenue to advertise it, just to get it out, other
It'd be
than?
nice to find out, I mean, where do you outreach to grab people who are code professionals? Because they have to have their certifications, that's the rub, is you might get a contractor that knows his stuff, but if he's not certified to be a code enforcement officer,
And that takes at least 6 months.
he's gotta have his 60 credits or whatever, and I can't remember the requirements, so it's kind of tough to find somebody. I don't know if there's, a school out there somewhere or where someone would go to do it, but you'd like to pull from that, those kind of places.
I know they do training at the fire academy, maybe we ought to put something up
You
when
could,
they do codes
why
there.
don't you?
When do you think BOCES would have a program for that? I mean,
I don't know,
what?
Good point, maybe, I don't know.
I don't
You'll
know.
look into it.
I know they do it at the fire academy.
I mean,
They
why
have
don't you
code
share
classes.
the ad with all of us, and then any avenue that we all
Yeah.
have to.
When I
even if
went-
You sent the scope, because I've already shared it with some people, right?
LinkedIn, that's another.
I probably-
Is that's what I was thinking, like LinkedIn, or do we have an
Indeed.
Indeed account?
Indeed.
Yeah,
We do.
Indeed we do?
Yeah,
Or we will.
remember when they had that thing at Corning Community College, it was the regional thing with Jig, and I attended the thing on BOCES.
Yeah, I asked the STC planning, but they didn't have any.
And is there anything we can shove out to the Chamber of Commerce, to all their membership? Is it a posting they would do, or
Good,
is it?
yeah, why don't you send it
Where
to
does
us?
a code
There's not a codes club somewhere that we don't know about?
I don't think we figured that
Well, when we go
out.
to that, well, I don't wanna wait till September, but
Yeah.
that might be an avenue in the NICOM conference. I mean, I think communities all over are having the same issue, but it's not an easy job.
And they make it tougher by the day.
Yep. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, we're trying to get fully staffed here down in the business office. So this is the hire for Jennifer Schaffner.
A motion to hire Jennifer Schaffner as a full-time office assistant starting 7/12/2024 at $19 an hour.
Second.
I have to,
Just the people who sound
Hey, you
elected
know what?
more than the person in the office.
Can I have you guys make a correction on this, because I want to be very specific. She will start full-time tomorrow, which is what, the 17th? So we did have her come in for just a tad bit just a part-time to let her feel back. She was in this position before, but just for civil service purposes, I want them to know that, she wasn't full-time at that time. So she came in on 7/12,
yeah,
she's part-time, and really, I think she only worked maybe between now and then 6 hours, but just kind of get a feel for getting back into things so that, and I needed the help in there, so.
yeah, so,
so-
couple of things. This guy was running the office by himself. So I applaud you, and I worry about him because I think he's gonna get burned out.
No, I'm never gonna get burned out.
Literally, there was no one in there. I sat in there, I couldn't help him, but I sat in there and gave him moral support. But so Jennifer, just for the other board members, she worked for us in this position before. for this position that Megan was in. She's really, really good. She's, was at the school and heard that we had the opening and wanted to come back. She's really personable and she's great with the public, and I think she'll get
She
rid
picked
of.
right back up into
Yeah.
it.
Great.
Yeah, she
So
remembered things that
where are you
were,
going, you wanna bring her in tomorrow, right?
so she is
Starting
supposed to start
tomorrow.
tomorrow full
Good.
time. She's already committed to start tomorrow full time.
Get her done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
she
I'm
gave her
excited.
2-week notice at the school.
Yeah, she fulfilled her notice with the school.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Carried. All right, so we have 2 special events, the first being Grand Prix Festival on 9/5 and 6/2024, and then the second is Village Christmas on 12/6. You can do them together if you want.
Make a motion to approve items I and J. Approve a special event application for the Grand Prix Festival to take place on 9/5 and 9/6/2024. And item J, approve a special event application for the Watkins Glen Village Christmas to be held on Friday, 12/6/2024 on Franklin Street between 2nd and 7th Streets.
I'll second that.
Okay, so,
That's a Thursday and a Friday.
Thursdays at what, the park?
yeah.
Lafayette.
Yeah,
Oh,
Lafayette.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we probably should note in the minutes also, because typically for these events, we allow for open containers, so it's probably important to include that for these. So one is the Vintage Grand Prix Festival, and just so the board knows, I have a meeting, I think it's August 12th, so they're gonna be discussing Grand Prix for next year and how NASCAR works and all that. So I don't know the outcome yet,
I
but.
think the Olympics pretty much is what screwed us this year.
That's
yeah.
what they said.
That's, yeah, someone, I was just.
They said they're
talking to
gonna move the
somebody
race
about
back
it.
next
They
year.
said it's gonna go back to August next year.
Yeah, this was just a 1 year.
Yeah.
In the committee meetings we have, that's what they,
I hope so.
that's what they say at this
There's
point.
a lot of,
And they still haven't paved the park, the state park.
oh no,
They're not gonna do it, I guess, from what I heard.
oh wow.
Paid them for what?
Pave it.
Oh, paid
You
them.
can't even drive through there. Christ, there's holes in
It's,
big.
yeah, it's bad.
It's terrible.
State Park, we're up on Buffalo.
Stonebridge
Stonebridge,
area
where they come through,
through
where all they
Hidden
tear
Valley.
down through.
Oh, for the.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad.
Nice rock wall there and stuff.
And it's a state night?
It's
Yeah,
it's a state park.
road, the state always did it.
Yeah, it's a state
I
park.
guess it is.
Just so we're on record that typically the departments have these signed off below. So I send out, all the departments as far as their respective requests on here did turn in, so I have emails from everybody clearing their parts in this. So the only one that actually had a comment was Chief at the fire department. He had, I think he had mentioned that fire wasn't listed on here at all and that they can't proceed without,
On the Grand Prix one?
yeah, which I think Michaela knows that. I don't think it was intentional that she left off anything, but I think somewhere in here it said something like, is fired, whatever, not used, and it said no, so,
Yeah, I saw that too, actually.
anyway.
Well, so they've changed the setup this year because,
EMS.
yeah, the fire department took up so much space where they set up down at the county that they've told them that they have to set up at the fire department because they can't utilize all that space. We don't have the same amount of space because our headquarters now is Van Skyver. Yeah,
So there's
so
memories
that's
there,
probably,
Peter.
that's probably why,
Our headquarters are at Van Skyver.
Yeah.
yeah. Our committee headquarters. Yeah, so we have a,
Guess where it used to be?
Yeah. Stop.
Oh, no,
Jesus.
All right.
Oh.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no opposed, it's carried. I'm not even going down that rabbit hole.
No.
All
I was
right,
trying to drag you into it.
I know. So now we have a resolution to support the Justice Court Assistance Program. This is a really great grant. Judge Decker got it, I think, last year.
Yeah, he's got it every year.
$30,000, and so great for equipment for the court. so, but we have to have a resolution to support
Yeah,
it.
he can't file for the grant that he wants without the resolution from the board. And then he can put in a request for certain items at certain amounts, up to 30,000, and then they go and approve them.
All right, so I make, a motion to approve the resolution in support of the Justice Court Assistance Program 24-25 grant application.
I'll second it.
Oops, go ahead.
Yes.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll be sitting in
No
leather
opposed.
seats over there.
They all are.
Carried.
All right.
I'll pass. You can,
Yeah, I don't want to.
I don't wanna, I'm gonna be with Lori, I don't wanna sit over there.
All right, next up, this is a really dry reading. This is our resolution for the amendment. This also is an annual document that we sign. The consortium is our municipal health insurance program. Say that 3 times fast. So we, every year, have to sign this agreement. We call it an amendment, but this is a normal process, and Elin did reach out to me today to make sure it was gonna get done, because I think we're a little behind.
Yeah, they initially,
It's June, I think.
they didn't want to trouble everybody with this every year, and they tried to do a resolution last year that was for all years going forward. And then the organization and the board that they answered to, things changed, and they said, no, they need to do an amendment every year.
Fred sits on the board.
So it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's nothing more than their cooperative agreement with all of them.
Make a motion to approve a resolution for the 2024 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement for the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium.
I'll second it.
Further discussion?
So this is insurance for the village?
Yep.
That is all, that's the regular
Yeah.
health insurance for,
It's like a co-op, right, Fran?
yeah.
Yep.
And so none of the union, like none of the Teamsters employees are on there, but the electric is, and then general full-time employees, nobody else. I don't, yeah, that's on there. Let's see how the future goes with that, because every year they tell us that we have to have everyone on board, but we keep getting a waiver for that.
Right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, next up, really exciting, we're moving right along on the ADA playground. This is the approval for the purchase for the equipment. This is all paid on the grant, this is part of the GRI as well.
Thought we already approved this.
We talked
This is
about
the
it.
specific,
This is,
I brought it to the board a couple times back, and we said we were gonna talk about it, just knew that it was coming, but we hadn't finalized.
yeah,
Because they were pending on if we were allowed to use Compton the way that,
Right.
because there was rules to, as far as getting bids and whatnot. So that's all settled now, so we're allowed to move forward with this. These has been set in stone forever to cut, so we can get the playground going, but it got tied up because of some formalities.
yeah, we basically didn't have to go out to a full bid because it's so specific to the ADA playground that there's not a lot. So we went to the state to say, this is where we've identified that we can get it from, it fits within the budget, can we use this group? And then they said yes. So now this is the approval to go forward.
Yeah, we had to make sure the procurement was gonna pass.
Pass that on to Fred, will you, please?
all right, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of playground equipment from Compan for the Coop Park redevelopment Phase 3 accessible playground project in the amount of $327,000, $616.52. Grant funded.
Second?
Further discussion?
Now, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about cost.
Oh, yeah.
Some of this stuff is
Oh, I
unbelievable.
know, that lights you right up, Peter.
Holy man, I got looking at the full color pictures of what it's supposed to look like. and-
Yeah, I saw it. The
And when I
guys,
looked at the, I
he
looked at
sent
the
those
prints.
out.
It's gonna be
It's pretty
amazing
cool,
when it's
yeah.
done. I mean, it's gonna just light the park up.
Yeah, the next thing you'll see is we're working on it right now, the RFP to put out to bid to do the base work. So we had a little bit of a delay just because some of the questions we needed answered by the state, finally got them. I have a meeting tomorrow on it, so. the
So
RF
we came back with a bunch of questions on there.
Yeah, All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Also carried. All right, our next
Hot item.
Yeah, hot item.
item that we've been talking about for how many meetings?
How many years?
The yard waste bags, which if you sit downstairs long enough, you see quite an interesting array of things going out the door. So let's get a motion and then we'll talk about it.
A motion to approve the discontinued yard waste bags.
Second?
All right, discussion. So thus far, we have not ordered anymore.
No, we have not ordered any.
I don't know if any of you have been canvassing, but I've been canvassing a lot of residents and they're like, discontinue them. It's 10 grand a year out of the budget.
Oh, I told somebody the 60.
Everybody that's come in and talked to us about it
That's recycling.
are fine with it, and they all understand that, you know, like Scott has said, the crew goes around every morning.
Right.
So as long as their yard waste is out there in a pile somewhere on the, you know, on the edge of the right of way or whatever we wanna call it,
They pick it up.
they pick it up. I mean, obviously, if it's grass or whatever, something like that, I would prefer to be in a bag. No kitty litter, please,
Yeah.
anything like that, but
But
they will still come around and pick it up. The guys will, they got gloves and they will scoop up the branches and everything else and throw it in there. So it's not really necessary to take those bags and pack stuff into them. I think, I know maybe the
They're
biggest
getting cheaper too.
complaint would be leaves, you know, but really you don't even get a lot of leaves in there.
They're not as sturdy as they used
Leaves are hard to get in there. You can't get your rake in there. I
to.
mean, I like that we still have the leaf program. I think that really helps the residents. You can rake them out to the curb and
That's
pick them
was
up.
one of the concerns that someone came to me about. Are we gonna continue with the leaf truck? And is there a way to do it a little bit earlier?
Well, they can still buy the bags themselves and put them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, has anybody talked to those guys
They
down
don't
there?
wanna buy back, they just wanna know if I break my leaves out to the side, is the leaf truck gonna come through and suck it up, whatever it does?
And unscheduled time, are you talking?
Yeah, I think they did do it, I can't remember when they did
always
it last year.
Kind of depends on when it gets cold and the leaves start to
It varies
fall.
from year. It
Yeah.
depends on when
The season and what's
the
falling.
season and when you get that real heavy frost that the leaves start to
Start
fall.
falling off, yeah.
So I mean, like, it's not something I can predict and tell
Right.
you that we're gonna have it,
Right.
you
But
know.
But the person that I talked to said, as long as I know the leaf truck is gonna be
Should-
still put in
should be
use.
still-
What
And I
was,
said, I think they run, did you guys run it last
what
year?
was the status of that? Didn't we have one go bad and?
We've got one go bad. We had one that is
Repaired.
old and we've repaired it. We
Yeah.
put a,
New motor in it.
well, new used motor in it.
Right.
But
Right.
we are gonna have to look at next year, sitting down and talking and looking at replacing it. It's not a program that we want to stop.
Okay.
It's just, it's a program that we're gonna have to, you know, like anything else, you
Yeah.
have a finite life on your equipment.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a huge benefit having that pickup, I think.
Oh, for sure.
It's very quick, it's fast.
Yeah.
As long as we get it done before the snow flies.
We picked them up in the snow.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Oh, yeah?
We have, as long as they're not frozen solid, we have picked them up in the snow. I mean, again, you can't, you know, predict the weather. You can, it can snow when the leaves are coming down, and we pick them up.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no opposed, carried. Okay, this is a member application. I did confirm that she is a member for the fire department for a
Family reunion.
family reunion.
I make a motion to approve member application for use of the fire department building for Ashley Jane on 8/3/24 from 8 to 4 p.m. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a family reunion.
One second. it.
Further discussion?
This is the right form. This is an old form.
Well,
We never finished that, did we?
no,
Well, there's the
Okay.
member application form, and then there's the, now.
Yeah, but this one's the one we,
that didn't make a lot of sense.
right, because it's,
Yeah, so that isn't finished yet.
okay.
Peter and Bob are meeting with Jason at some point to do it.
Yes.
Because it contradicts its.
Yeah, oh,
The
yeah,
whole thing
that's
just stops in
right.
circle.
Yeah, so,
We just needed a cleaner one. It's just,
yes, that's,
okay, so,
Peter and I met with Jason and then he's gonna follow up,
Yeah. We kinda got a little
yeah.
behind here, everything that's going on, so.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, the next is the fire department's apparatus bay heater replacement.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire department's apparatus bay heater replacements by Finger Lakes Climate Control for a total of $9,500.
I'll second it.
All right, so I know, Steve, you had some questions.
Yeah, I just didn't, because I just need an education on it. There was a litigation on it, and we weren't allowed to maintain it, then is there money coming to us to offset this?
No. So we,
That was appointed by the court.
It was considered basically evidence, like you couldn't touch it for that reason. 'cause
That's
it
why
was
they
part of
couldn't do
the
anything with it.
Lawsuit.
because we had a lawsuit, the lawsuit was settled. There was no findings on behalf of the village or the fire department, but because we were still in litigation, I think it went back to 2017, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was in the thing.
We couldn't, basically couldn't touch the heating system, and it needs to be
How stupid is that?
Wait, but it wasn't
Yeah.
running? Or was
It was
it
running.
broke since?
Yeah, no, it was running.
Because you
Yeah,
couldn't service
but
it.
it's 20 years old
It
now.
couldn't be tampered from its original
Right.
use. It's amazing, the whole thing's amazing because after what?
Yeah, because heat,
Why would they order?
especially in the winter,
back to-
heat is part of a federal law that you have to be able to maintain it.
Yeah, well, it
Was
was
it
in tied
part
up
of the-
litigation.
Was it part of the lawsuit because it was some kind of evidence or something?
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
like
okay.
heat,
Exactly.
shelter, and
yeah, so it delayed them having, being able to do anything with that system, which was not good.
That doesn't
and,
make sense.
uh,
No, it doesn't.
I know, it doesn't make sense, but it was tied up for quite some time.
Long time. Imagine that they did tests, 7, 8 years later that determined that what supposedly happened didn't happen. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
and then the other thing I had was like, it's sort of weird, and we're gonna see this pattern on the next one. It was like,
The quotes,
the quotes, one was from November 23, the next one's January 24, and then one was done Friday.
yeah, so I questioned that too.
Where are you used to seeing
Because
that?
they need.
I had to do some,
The three,
you gotta look through the
Oh,
if you look at the,
dates.
oh, okay, so I see Jay's.
I think what we have to ask there is, with our procurement policy,
It is a timeline.
yeah, because I
It doesn't
want,
state so.
it doesn't?
Okay.
It doesn't have any specifics, it just says,
Okay.
Three quotes.
yeah, well, depending on what the cost is. So in
Fred.
this case, I don't know, it's up to you guys, if you could certainly, you have every right to tell them you'd rather have 3
It's
current
basically
quotes.
$4,000 cheaper though.
Yeah, no, I'm
What
not
you
saying
got?
that, it was just
No, I
weird,
know.
is this one still valid?
You got Charlie.
7/11/24, that was like
Only
last week.
valid for 30 days.
30 days.
Right, this is November 23.
Yeah, any quote
Did-
you receive is only valid for 30 days.
So
Did
these other
Jason
ones aren't
say
valid.
he reached out to the guy? Or gal?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say anything.
You mean on the
On the
9,500?
9,500?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on that one, that one's just a few days ago,
Yeah, that's dated
supposedly.
No, last.
Oh, that's
October,
November.
Or November.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the,
If I may.
Yeah, I was looking at this thing, but, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that, that is a really valid question.
Resner hanging and.
Is it still,
So they're just a Resner gas heater?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the hanging, they're for the
Hanging
bays, the EMS bay and
What's this
the
all about?
What's the BTUs on
175 and
that's,
60.
that's just the
Two of them at
the requisition that they
175
had
and one of
to
them
allow
at
to give the bar, that was just in there. That was just on top of everything.
yeah, I think we should ask him to give us an updated, because how do we know that 9,500 is
I'd hate
Right.
to- I hate to see us pull the trigger and then it's like,
Yeah,
hey.
they say, oh, wait a minute, the price of this
It's like
stuff
a
is going up.
buzzkill.
Well, like I said, everybody else is $4,000 more.
Yeah, no, you definitely should have him get the most recent quote. Just because, you know.
So what we could do is amend the,
Can we amend this to say
Approving,
pending,
Pending.
he
Confirmation.
confirms?
Yeah,
Updated, quote.
Yeah, but
date.
what if we say that and then his quote comes back as higher than like
Then he's gotta come-
Charlie's?
we'll approve it
It's
only
gotta
for the
come back.
95, and then if it's higher than that, then it
It's
won't,
gotta-
won't
I'm
pass.
sorry, wait a
Or why
minute.
don't we just
Who,
table it?
who did this? Is that your
That-
signature?
That is
just
that's just a requisite, that's Jason. That's Jason Hudson.
That's a requisition that we.
They have to fill that out to give it to Barb with the whole packet saying that that's the
Oh,
one
I
that
was
was
gonna say,
chosen.
because that's 7-Eleven.
Yeah. No, that's Jason.
Okay, all right.
He just filled that out to say that that's the one that they're going with.
So do you want to amend the motion, Margaret, to state that we'll approve Finger Lakes Climate up to 9,500 and an updated quote?
Oh, okay, all right, so I'll make a motion to approve the fire, wait a minute, approve, right, fire department apparatus bay heater replacements by Finger Lakes Climate Control for up to a total of $9,500 pending a,
updated quote.
updated quote. Is that right?
Current quote, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I need a second.
Second,
I'll second.
too late. Oh. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed, that's carried. Okay. Moving right along. Now, sewer pipe. This one's a little trickier because he wants to amend his budget, and that's not quite how it works, but let's get a motion and we'll talk about it.
I make a motion to approve the fire department's request for an emergency sewer pipe repair by Underground Pipe Company in the amount of $25,000. Do I have to read the rest of that?
Yeah.
Fire chief requests a budget amendment for the cost.
Correct. All right, then I was looking for the date on this one,
We need a second.
and oh yeah, sorry,
I'll
go ahead,
second
second.
Stay safe.
Bye, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
Nice, Jason.
Awesome job on the time cards. She really helped me out. I gave her back some work and she did an awesome job.
All right, so, Terry, do you want to explain what this is? Weren't you there when we were talking about this?
They're just gonna line the sewer pipe.
Oh, I know.
When they built the building, bathrooms were on the other end of the building, and they put, whether it's cast iron, I don't think it's ductile iron, I think whether it was cast iron, underneath the floor, when it probably should have been SDR 35 plastic.
Outside.
But needless to say, whatever's happened to it with the scaling, it's like anything else, it's scaling up on the inside, plugging up all the time now, so they have to line it. It is a very long run under the whole building, and it's all embedded in concrete. So you've got two choices with it being embedded in concrete. You either line it, if they can get in there and scour the inside of it, or rotor roof the inside of it, I guess, just get the scale all off, get that out, and put a liner in it. Or you basically jackhammer the floor out and replace the pipe. And jackhammering the floor is gonna be substantially more.
Yeah, there's quotes here for that.
For saw cutting out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find a
38,000.
date on this underground pipe thing. Anybody else see it?
Yeah.
May 24.
24.
May 2024 is the
Oh,
reline.
up here, okay.
June 20th and 7/12 are for saw cutting and pulling concrete. And those are replacements.
By far the best option is to line the pipe.
How do they do it?
Pardon?
How do you,
The same as they do with sewer, what they do is it's a collapsed, for lack of a better word, it's fiberglass, but it's collapsed. They put it in and kind of inflate it and heat it, and then it cures itself. And that's where you get that fiberglass smell when they're lining the sewers.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, joints, any seams.
That's
You
fail
sick of
safe?
us?
See, Charlie?
Thanks, Charlie.
Nothing
Have a
is
good night.
fail-safe.
Yeah, it's like they charge it with steam, hot
Yeah.
steam.
And nothing's fail-safe. I can't say it's fail-safe, but I mean, it's better than what they've got.
So do they like rotor it out, like, to get all
Well,
that crap
that's,
out?
Yeah,
I
they
would
got it.
surmise that they're gonna rotor, I'm gonna call it rotor, but they would send something down there to descale the pipe.
Descale it.
And then they would, like, Steven said, I mean, it would be pulled through and it's high-pressure steam. That starts the curing process and it's basically a pipe. It's a brand-new pipe.
So, if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
we still have to pay for it then, we still have to go pay, they have to,
That's
then you
right,
have to,
because it's
check in.
labor and materials only on the warranty.
Yes.
Does not cover
Doesn't mean,
if we have a greater issue.
right.
That's why I put that.
Well, see, and I don't know if they have or not, unless they've cameraed the line, fully cameraed the line.
Yeah, he said.
He said they did.
said
Okay,
they
so
did,
then,
More
because the
than
one thing you don't want is dips on the line, because if you got dips on the line, you're gonna have problems. Even if you line it, because you're gonna have
And he said there was none.
so if there's no dips in the line.
Where's all this documented, Fred? We keep saying we have all this
This
stuff.
is just.
And I'm not saying you, it's just.
No, I know,
He
it's
told us.
Jason saying that that this is. what-
Charlie came in and was talking.
Yeah, it was Charlie that did.
Charlie came in
Said
and-
that-
Remember you said that they had a camera, but did they really shoot the level of it?
Jason came in
I didn't hear
the other
that.
day into the office and said that there was no dips, that's what he said. He went
Because
and-
Terry's right, there could be a shift.
They've been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Well,
could ask Jason to get a report from whoever did it.
Whoever did the camera
Yeah.
work, but I mean, I can tell you now that we are called constantly. And, I mean, we have to go and, the main's running, and it's their issue every single time. But I can't begin to tell you how many times we get called to go there, because they have to call us first, but you have to check the main. And it's a constant thing that we're getting called there, that it's plugging up on them.
Yeah.
I get we gotta fix it, it's just,
Well,
we're
that's-
looking at apples and oranges here. There's one quote to reline and there's 2 quotes to saw cut.
Well, and again, if this is an accurate quote, of 25,000, it's under the 30,000, so they don't have to do an RFP on it. But it's gotta be apples to apples, you're gonna have to get 3 quotes of relining and 3 quotes of, saw cut. Because they're not apples to apples.
They're not, because I looked at, I mean, even if you look at Charlie Scaptura's, yeah,
38,
30,
almost 30.
he's almost 39, 38,255.
Yeah.
It's basically $40,000.
Jeff's is 45 to 55, but we did
Or
the
is
right
that
thing
for
by
lining?
Huh?
Is that for lining?
No, that's
that's-
saw cutting.
So,
That's-
So, but do they have 3 quotes?
Scappy's at 38.5 to saw cut, replace all new line.
Okay, and then all I see, how many bids do they have for the lining? They have to have
None, only
3.
one.
They have to have 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
there's
got
only
one.
one.
Because you have to do 3. You can't just do 1.
right, how do we?
I'm all about fixing it, it's just, that's why I wrote that
Right.
email, it's like, geez, we're
I mean, if
looking at
company-
apples and oranges here. It's-
Yeah, if this company is.
What if we can get somebody to do it at 20? I don't
Well,
know.
that's what I mean. Sheasley's relines,
Right.
they're actually doing it starting tomorrow at 209 Steuben Street. I believe it's 209 Steuben Street, the guy that keeps leaking out on Steuben Street with the sewer. And they're gonna, that's all clay tile, and providing, they're gonna camera it if it's in good enough shape, so they don't have to dig.
Where's that? Steuben Street is below my house? I'm 210 South Glen.
If you're going up Steuben Street,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you'll see on the one side, there's that sewer pipe that's up out of the ground, the cleanup. It's on the left-hand side if you're going towards the water.
So is it the apartments?
It's not the apartment, it's a rental house or a short-term rental or whatever it is.
Well, because that's what mine's hooked to too, so I don't want to be in the middle of this. Because mine comes all the way from South Glen through the backyard to Steuben Street.
Yes, but you are hooked to his. If you
No,
don't
I'm
wanna-
not.
Yes, you don't wanna be telling me you're hooked to his.
No.
Because if you're telling me you're hooked to
No.
his, you're breaking the law.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, I don't want
No,
him.
this got nothing to do with you.
Okay.
This is,
Gotcha.
this thing keeps plugging up, and when he redid the house, they only went to the curb.
Oh.
Instead of going out into the street, because it's a
Oh,
state road. Problem is it's clay tile all the way out to the state,
That's what I
all the
had.
way out to the main.
I had to replace it from my house all the way down there.
So now Sheasley's has given him a price to rely on. They're gonna camera it, and then they're gonna.
So these guys gotta
I don't
get
know how
bids.
much
All right, let's-
Sheasley's does it.
Let's regroup here and.
Sorry, I got it.
No, you're okay. I think my recommendation is that, who made the motion? We didn't,
I don't even remember now.
no, we didn't start the motion. That we table this and ask him to follow, because we don't,
Well, I hate to say it, but I question if you don't actually have to do a proper RFP. And
Well, it's gotta be 30,000.
I know, but the thing is if you look at this guy's email, he says, oh, you know, I really overpriced this, why don't you look at it again, basically, I think I put some wrong figures in there. But basically,
Right.
when you're looking at this, if you take that 25,000, realistically, it's probably a $30,000 job. And if that is, we only know that it's on 25,000 because the lowest bidder on this one is.
Right.
But the average cost, this guy could actually come in higher than that.
yeah.
It just seems awfully too close.
What do you mean?
There's. in the-
We wouldn't ask this guy to rebid, Jason just got this bid.
No, I know, but then, this one from underground, if you read it, says this is a revised quote for
Revised
replacing the
quote.
lines to the fire station. I glanced back at it today and it seemed high. I must have doubled on some of my materials, so all of a sudden he must have changed it.
To the 25.
Right.
I get that, what?
So he was probably above 25 is what I'm saying.
And if that's true, if it's a 30
And
or
so
over.
basically, if you have a project that looks to be $30,000 or more, you have to follow the RFP.
Understood, but we're still, what if somebody's out there that can do it for 20?
Well, that's what we're saying.
No, that's what he's saying.
That we need to table this so that
Right,
he
have
follows the
Oh, I thought
way.
you were saying we could approve this because it's below 30,000.
No.
Oh, sorry,
No,
Yeah.
my bad.
All right, so we're gonna table this and get 3 quotes that are apples to apples.
Both, yes. Either three of one or the other, or
Right.
both.
Well, but if, to do it right, and you're gonna have to have 3 saw cut.
Right.
You're gonna have to have 3 lining.
Right.
And then lining is the more economical
Sure.
solution, but you've got one guy giving a quote for 25. Well, I know Sheasley's lines.
Well, that's what we're saying, is that we need to have
Yeah.
quotes
Yeah,
that,
there's definitely more than one person that does.
There is.
Okay.
all right, so
But
we'll,
I think Jason really needs to present it, I mean, I think he needs to show, usually when you get this close, you need to show, you know, I guess it's the concern. Look, you would need to write something up that says that it's, you know, this is what's been discovered, and here's the problems and so
right,
forth.
and here's a documentation.
So
of
that
what
they
was
are, so that
discovered.
the bids are coming in on,
My problem is, or my concern is that we have discussed this in a meeting. We have discussed a price in a meeting. How is that gonna be fair to any other contractor?
Yeah. You're right.
What do you mean by fair?
No.
Well, because they could come in at 24.5.
Oh,
That's
this
right.
is- oh.
I don't care. Cheaper.
But that's not being transparent. It's not, and
Well,
that's
it's-
not following a proper procurement policy.
No.
Right, and neither is this.
Right.
No, I agree, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to have 3 applicable quotes, not this, we do it this way or this way. So either way, we got to go back.
These guys start again.
Where'd our audience go?
Oh, they're not.
So,
Figure it out.
I guess, so what was the question? So we gotta go back, we gotta get 3 quotes for saw cutting and 3 quotes for lining.
well, because you got quotes for different,
Right, so that, no, I understand it. So we need to get 3 for the saw cutting and 3 for the lining. Yeah, fine. 6 total. Or more, if you get more, you get more. Who knows? Yeah, so what's the
And
problem?
if they are over 30, then we have to do an
Then we have to do
RFP.
an RFP.
Okay?
Then we gotta figure out what your concern is, where do we, where's the balance of this?
Yeah, either way, we can't approve it like this.
Yeah, usually, I mean, the procurement policy, it's not so much that like you go out and get quotes and then you find out it's under 30,000. If you come to the conclusion that it's going to be 30,000 or more, it's just a best guess, then they technically have to follow going through the actual RFP process.
Yeah.
There's rules to it. So if we think that its average is 30,000 or higher, which clearly it is, then technically he would have to do that. He'd have to put it out bid. I see what you're saying. That would be tough.
Well, and with the lining, seriously, I don't think it would be over 30,000. Having whomever come in, I think it's gonna be, I'm not gonna throw figures out there because I don't want.
Yeah, well, let's ask them to do an apples to apples quote.
Macintosh, Spy,
Grinston.
Ambrosia.
Oh, my goodness.
Good God. Next.
Next. All right, let's move along.
Just say the word Bob, I'll check him out right now.
He hasn't had any sleep, the
He
poor
hasn't had
guy.
any sleep, so he's punchy.
Really?
All right,
Poor
well-
guy doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Let's move on to municipal solutions. We need to renew our contract. You have an attachment.
All right, so these guys are what?
They provide financial services for grant management, and I'll tell you what, they do a good job, because if we added that to Fred's plate, he would never
There are
sleep.
financial
Yeah.
items. And speaking of that, because I don't think I've overly discussed this with all of you, and actually I think I just mentioned it to Steve today, was I talked to Mary, and she said, as soon as we're ready, because she knows that we're dealing with a lot downstairs, but as soon as you're ready, they would like to sit down and go through everything as far as the water project goes.
Yeah.
So that you can begin to forecast out.
Yep.
As far as what you need to do.
Cool.
Yep. Soon we will do that. That's part of what they do, and they're great.
Yeah.
And this costs us money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's
It's a service.
Yeah.
not that expensive, though.
For
Yeah.
what they do and how they, basically what they do when you're in the middle of a big project, and then we've been doing it with a water plant, is that when something needs to be paid, and we get to a point where it needs to be paid, they direct the business office, payment number, blah, 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 which you'll see on the agendas, that's when we pay those. It's directed by somebody like Municipal Solutions to say, okay, we're ready to pay this now. And it helps Fred in the business office, because then they know, because they're tracking every single dime for those projects.
So basically.
These people track the money in a grant.
We're knee deep with, I mean, we're basically a partnership with these guys.
Yeah.
And it's never gonna end, and
No.
so, if you're reading here that it's, like it says, municipal securities rules boards, they have to have this to continue every year to be doing this, so they can't be operating as
great.
they are with us.
Right.
Without renewing this contract every year.
It's great, it's like having a controller.
Yeah, and they're wonderful to work with,
Yeah.
if they see something that's not right, they'll call me, they're on the phone with him immediately.
They solely handled that wastewater plant.
And they've been managing all of the payments and the chaos with across the payments.
With the water.
And paying through 3 different grants at the same
And
time.
I like how they can help us
They've been awesome.
manage the path for
Yeah,
the next.
yeah, that'll be a great sit
initiative.
down, and Mary is she's something awesome.
Yep, they're great. All right, I need a
Okay,
motion.
so we have to make a motion to
Accept
accept the Municipal Solutions updated contract in connection with the Village of Watkins Glen's general financial services for consideration and approval.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried, thank you. Okay, now I need a motion to close the public hearing. We don't have any public left.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing closed and carried, and next, I need a motion motion to approve the general audit of July 16th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the general audit dated July 16th, 2024 for the amount of $304,570.57.
I'll second it. Further discussion? No questions?
So what was it, 304?
Peter G?
304, 570, 57?
Yeah.
Yep.
It actually should be a lot higher, because we didn't,
We
I
got
didn't get, I
four.
didn't get all the vouchers, and there's ones that we still have to do, so, but I got the majority of them, so there will be a little, we'll have to do another one, and that will add to then the regular payables for the next board meeting, so you'll see two double out. but
All right,
we got each
all
of
in
them.
favor?
Aye.
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 No opposed? Carried. All right, couple of quick things. We got the arts grant and the amount of $4,300 for music, our summer concert series, so thank you to Margaret.
There you go, Margaret.
Weren't you so excited to hear that? You've been
Oh
asking
my
me.
God, I know, they asked about it.
Yeah, so we're working on some cool, well, we've got
Well, we
music
did it
this
back-
summer,
You can make it back in
a while ago, yeah.
March, wasn't it? Yeah, 'cause she left in April.
One thing, Mark, just to follow up, I don't know if you,
I got that.
You got that? okay, so we've got some things we've got to do.
Yeah, some checklists. and-
Acknowledgement letter. So Margaret's working on, this is just a prelim for September 8th event at Lafayette Park. What is it called? The,
Southern tier, brass, sometimes they're quartet, sometimes they're quintet. Judd Spina's been in
Oh.
the group, hometown guy. And they're pretty good.
yeah, so cool event. We've
Well,
got,
Did
I
they
typically,
buy? They probably could, I mean,
That's all I listen to, classical.
Lafayette Park has been,
When you're done with this, I'm gonna jump through.
music.
can I use this
You
paper?
need
This
some
is
sleep.
my guide, this is not, anything official, right?
No, you want mine?
No, that-
Here's an extra one with that
Yeah,
highlighted.
You can, you can write on that, you're good.
Yeah, I just want to keep this for, I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep it for, okay, okay. So let's see, Terry requests,
Yeah, there's some follow-up things that gotta be done.
got it, Terry.
Nobody's here to show this to, but I thought it was kind of cool. I wanted to show the board. So we got the 2024 Rochester Design Award for our Clute Park building.
Oh, cool.
We're very excited.
Are we keeping you up?
Yes, it is very nice. Yes, I saw it someplace. Was it in the office? I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've had it in my downstairs, so I'll put that somewhere. I don't know where. All right, we need to evaluate recycling in the village. We are paying $60,000. I know that Steve was gonna follow up with Fred, but we're getting to the point where we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, especially
just
since they're not-
Fred's
Steve
behind
and I
you, so-
talked, he needs some information from me, and I just haven't had a chance to squeeze that out yet.
Yep.
But we're getting it, we'll get it.
Okay. And then the NICOM conference. I called tonight. No, he was correct.
It's already booked out, it's so sad.
What?
Not the whole conference isn't booked.
No,
This
the
hotel is.
Oh,
There's sister hotels, but if you want to go, we got to know because we got to.
Yeah, there's actually, you know what, honestly, the one that's down the hill from the Hilton, I can't remember, which one it is, but it's actually nicer than Saratoga Hilton, I think.
Yeah, will you check it out and let me know? Because we're going to have to, we got to book rooms
It's the,
here.
yeah, I can,
It'll fill up, what's gonna happen is even the rooms, yeah, those, the next thing you know.
don't they have a list of hotels, or they just, no? it's-
If you look at, I think I sent you guys the email.
I wanna say it was the Hampton Inn, it's newer than the Saratoga Hilton. But I'll look.
So check your calendars, let us know. Really, I'd like to know by the end of the week
I
who
looked
wants
at
to
some of the
go.
classes.
I'll be out of town that week.
Okay.
Does it give
Because
us-
I'm gonna get registered, whoever wants to go, we got it. You didn't get it?
I don't think I got it either.
I-
There's a lie email I'm not getting, I think.
Uh,
I didn't even, I didn't get the attachment to this board packet, I didn't get the board packet. I don't know.
I got their email, and I looked at their agenda and the classes.
Yeah, so
A
they
lot
have-
of it's for you.
Yeah, this is the time of year for that, for me, and knowing, I would really like for knowing I go skate and do that, because there's information that we really both
Yeah, I noticed a
are
lot of
gonna
that.
find extremely useful.
So is this something you have to go for the full week?
You don't have to, you can,
You
it
can
says
look
there
at the
you can pick,
schedule, I'll send you guys this again, I sent it about a week and a half ago.
yeah, you don't have to go, it depends on, actually, that's, I think it says right in there, that somewhere in there, it tells you something about $300 minimum.
Or for meals?
Full dinner thing.
One day select during registration,
Oh, yeah, for the one day.
$500 for the
Yeah,
full
one day
conference.
select during, yep.
So it costs $300 for one day
Mainly for you guys.
and $500 for the entire conference?
That's what I get.
So you want to spend $500,
Yeah.
get more bang for your buck, Dave.
Well, I was thinking that too, but
Take the wife and kids.
there's no reason to be there for the entire week though, because
Plenty of time for stuff. And I stayed
But you might learn something.
Unless you're playing golf or something else like that.
go out.
Yeah, I'm fine with
And it's
that.
not that far from, it's not, if this is at the, is this at the?
It's not the same place that it was last time.
Well, no, we went up to Lake George, but I'm saying the actual, the sessions, are they in the conference thing?
Yeah, they
Yes,
should all be.
Yeah, so the Hampton Inn is not that far from the conference center.
yeah, that's
And I think
what
it's nicer, personally, but,
Can you walk to it?
yeah.
all right, so I just sent it to you.
Friendly
We
neighborhood?
really need to kind of set a deadline that says if you guys are gonna go, you'll have that information in so that we can put it all together before next week or
If
something.
it's mainly geared towards your guys' stuff, then I don't know.
Carrie, I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but I keep getting messages. Is there some outage going on at 8 o'clock tonight for electric?
Not that I'm aware
Well,
of.
Tommy said no too, but I keep getting texts.
From
I'll let
Nancy.
you know in the email, but I'm not gonna go, but I'll.
Well, it's 8 o'clock, you're gonna know.
I think you'd like.
Yeah, we'll know that. Oh, you know what?
2 minutes.
Guys, I gotta go to the bathroom. I
Something with
can't
that
go.
pole down on Cass Road, and they've got contractors down there, I mean, I don't know. I mean, NYSEG would have to do an outage for that, that's a 34.5 line, they would have to do an outage for it.
We're at the bottom of the hill over here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a motion, so I don't have you here all night, to
Motion, we're gonna say that she's asked them.
to move to collective negotiations. We've got a union contract to discuss.
I think a motion to move to executive session. Is that what we're looking at? To discuss contract.
Good night.
No, I'm going
Collective
for a quick one.
negotiations.
I'm gonna go for a couple so that I can relax.
Well, I was gonna say, so you can relax.
Who seconded it?
I'll
Second.
second.
Scott, Peter,
All
and
right,
Bob.
all in favor?
Hey,
All right.
No opposed? Margaret walked out.
Margaret is absent, I'm just gonna say this.
Carried, okay.
Okay,
Thanks,
so,
Terry.
let's give a second.
If we get done, I'll join you.
Okay.